Oh, wait, quick question. Do I look into the camera or?
You can.
Okay.
Yeah, you definitely can. It's all to you. Then there's just going to be one part of the interview where I stop to reset the cameras, but that's it.
Okay.
So with that being said, welcome to the lunch table, everybody. Food for thought. I'm Nico Blitz. Hit that subscribe button at the bottom left-hand corner. Also, I guess press that bell because it notifies you whenever we post these videos, and that will really help out. All streaming platforms if you don't want to see my face and you just want to hear my voice. My next guest, I find a lot of my guests on Instagram, man, and I think I found her after I interviewed Myla, who's this dope singer-songwriter from, I think, Idaho or something like that. Anyways, Ohio. She's from Ohio. Anyways, my next guest, she is from Nashville. She has 2 records out right now, one of them being Keeping Me Up and also The Jungle, which she just dropped today. Hannah Monds, what's poppin'?
Hi. How are you?
I'm feeling great, and you're looking very festive for the Jungle release.
Thank you. Yeah, I literally, I was like, I have to be in the spirit. I didn't even plan to have the interview today when I dropped the single, but that song's called The Jungle.
It just works that way, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Now, but before we get into The Jungle, have you watched, like, The Lion King or The Jungle Book yet?
Yeah, I just saw it, like, a week and a half ago, and I love it.
Lion King?
Mm-hmm. The one with Beyonce, right?
Yeah, see, you're the first person to say that The Lion King was good because everybody else said it was trash.
You know, I personally liked it. I get how there could be mixed reviews only because it hasn't been done in years.
Yeah.
So I feel like they could have got off script a little bit and maybe gave some backstory. That was my personal opinion. I was like, you know what? Maybe they could show how Mufasa and Scar met. You know, like how they grew up as brothers and then how they made this big kingdom. But, I mean, they stayed true to the story. So, I mean, you can't hate on it.
Yeah, and I mean, but watching that movie way back then, you kind of just get jumped into the story and just like, okay, this is what we're doing. And this is just what we're accepting. And I guess, like, us seeing it, like, 20-something years later, we kind of want more out of it. But it's like, bro, you can't watch a remastered movie and expect changes, you know?
Exactly. But you know what's crazy is this generation, this is their line.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, we have more appreciation for it, though. And I feel like the cartoon actually made me more emotional than the actual one. Like, I actually cried at the cartoon.
Really?
I still cry when I watch the cartoon.
Yeah.
But this one didn't.
And I feel like there's nothing like the old school movies. Like, we can always go back to it and kind of remember, like, how we ended up watching it. Like, for instance, the first Lion King and all those Disney movies, they came in, like, the big, those big cartridges. Like the VHSs.
Oh, the VHS
yeah, the VHSs.
Package. Yeah, I still have that.
I do too. Mm-hmm. Those are like vintage.
They are. Keep them because I feel like they're gonna be worth something one day.
Yeah,
like
one day
money.
for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So The Jungle, it just got released today.
Yeah.
What's the premise? Because all I seen on your Instagram was like you and like sand, and it was dark, and I'm like, what's going on here?
Yeah, being sexy. So The Jungle, honestly, it's just one of those let loose records, you know. When I wrote it so quickly, and I had a lot of my friends come together who are musicians, a guitarist, bass player, Yanni and Obi-Wan, Goose, Nelly, and Will. Those are like all the people that are involved in the record.
Like Nelly or a different Nelly?
No.
I just got to make sure. I need some clarification.
Yeah, no. Nelly, he's a dope producer out here.
Okay.
But, yeah, we just organically were in the studio one night, and we're like, let's just build something from the ground up.
Mm-hmm.
And it started off with that bass line, and then as soon as I heard that, I just immediately thought, this is super sexy. It gave me that jazz feel.
Yeah.
Even though the record's not a jazz feel, but it still gave me that approach to want to just bring out a sex appeal in it.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's just about letting loose, and everyone can relate to having one of those nights where they just want to like forget about everything and just let everything out, you know? Because like in the jungle, I feel like that's where you can be free. You know, it's like, you know what I mean? You're not overthinking anything. You're just like one with nature, and you're one with just everything. So.
And it's interesting that you used like the specific word sex appeal, because I feel like a lot of the music that gets pushed out nowadays has more to do with actual sex as opposed to like, you know, like feeling sexy or like really feeling good about yourself.
Right. Well, and that's my approach with most of my music. I have some music where I'm very detailed and I will write about, you know, a fantasy or whatnot. But sometimes I'm very good with using play on words and not being so direct and being, I don't want to make nasty records. I mean, sometimes nasty is
and sometimes nasty records are cool, though.
Yeah, nasty records are good. Those are the ones. But for, you know, just so it can make you feel good and I get the point across with just being playful.
Yeah. It's like a
important.
different take to this hot girl summer that's popping up right now, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
So, Hannah, you're from Nashville. What was it like growing up over there?
It was super chill. Like, Nashville's a very chill, wholesome place. Like, it's very family oriented. It is Music City, so I feel like that's a lot of where my inspiration came from. It's a lot of country music, but blues and jazz is where I got some of my inspirations to where my music is now. But
Gotcha.
yeah, I grew up in Nashville. I moved there when I was 5, but before then I was living in Houston, and I was born in Virginia. I was all on the South Side.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so then when I moved to Nashville, I grew up, and I just feel like I traveled back and forth throughout
Did your parents move like from Houston to Nashville on like a work tip, or like what was with the move?
Yeah, so my mom, she's a single mom.
Oh, okay.
I never met my dad, so it was just me and my mom and my grandparents. And my mom had me super young, and they lived in Houston. And then my granddad got a job in California with Bakersfield, actually.
Oh, tight.
And then my mom, she got a job in Nashville, so we kind of separated and just lived out there. Yeah, I think it was cheaper for my mom.
Yeah.
Because it's just me and my sister and her, so 3 girls.
Damn, man.
Yeah.
Are you the eldest?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. So then you also have to play that big sister role too, while all the movements happening as well.
Exactly.
That's crazy. So you're over in Nashville now at like the age of 5. How long before you moved to Virginia?
Well, no, I was born in Virginia.
Born in Virginia.
I was born in Virginia. Then we moved to Houston. Then to Nashville.
Okay.
Yeah, and then it's so complicated. My family dynamic is crazy. Like, my sister, we have different dads. She has family in Virginia. So I feel like that's where I feel like Nashville didn't just bred me. Like, it didn't just make me. I feel like just being around different aspects of the South,
you kind of get like a different taste from like Houston and Virginia and also Nashville as well, because those are 3 like completely different areas of the world, or I mean even just the United States.
Yeah.
So like seeing as how even you grew up in 3 different areas basically, and then even seeing as how like your grandparents move away, your mom's, you know, on her own, and then even your sister's born from somebody else, like, do you feel like you kind of grew up in a more complicated situation?
Most definitely. I definitely grew up in a very complicated situation. And on top of that, being in an it's all white household. Like, my family is all white. I've never met my dad, so I never got to know that African American side.
Oh.
Yeah. So I always felt a little different, you know. But I was raised to not see color, so I never really knew until I explored other parts of, you know, United States, America, and just being able to see that there are other people out here. That's why I love LA, because LA is such a diverse place. Like, it feels like home here. I feel like I'm able to connect with a lot of people that are artists and that come from different parts of the world, because it's just like, you know, I get you.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's different when you're just growing up with, like, the same people in your household, because, for instance, when I was growing up, I literally thought everybody was Filipino.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
And then as soon as I get exposed to the rest of the world, I'm like, oh, there's white people, there's black people, there's Mexican people. You know, there's different types of Asians, and, like, to me, it was kind of like getting a little dose of culture shock growing up when I was about, like, I don't know, maybe 8 years old, if that.
Yeah, that's how it was for me. When I was about, I would say when we moved to Nashville, and I would say between the age of 5 and 10, is when I really struggled, you know, trying to figure out like where I really belonged, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It was just like I was getting around my friends and having sleepovers, and I'm like, okay, they're all the same race. Like, this is not normal, you know. But I mean, I wouldn't trade it any other way. Like, it's who I am, and
for sure.
It doesn't feel abnormal, but it definitely like helped make me who I am today.
Yeah, because in a sense, you keep very open-minded people around you
Exactly.
too.
Exactly.
So Hannah, when does like music come into play?
It's when I was younger.
Yeah.
So again, my mom had me super young. She was like 18 years old. And it's funny because my grandparents, they have older soul, and you know, I grew up with listening to records from like the 60s and the 30s.
So the 30s?
Yeah.
That's so far back.
I grew up, because I was around my great-grandparents too before they passed away at a very young age. And then my mom, she was more on the like, she didn't go that route. She was more on the 90s and the 80s tip, and she was more hip. So I got to just be in a household full of just great music all the time.
That's crazy because you literally got like 50 years worth of music just sitting in your household.
Yeah, I learned to appreciate so much music before I can even understand what an artist was. Like, I felt like when I was younger, I was ahead of my time, I feel like, all the time. Mm-hmm. I had a very old soul. I would be around my friends, they would be listening to What's Poppin', and I would be like, let's turn on Prince. And then they'd be like, Prince, what the heck?
Yeah.
So
looking at you hella weird. It's kind of crazy because whenever I like DJ around here and I play something from like the 80s, everybody is looking at me like, how do you know this song? I'm just like, my parents put me onto it.
Exactly. And they'll be like, what you know about this?
Yeah, what you know about this? I'm just like, come on, don't be asking me that question. I play this shit all the time.
Exactly. Yeah.
I gotta ask you, like, even listening to somebody as far back as the 30s, like, can you give us a name?
Oh my gosh, don't put me on the spot. I honestly no, and even nowadays, like even right now, I'm so bad with names, but I know music, and you know I'm terrible with remembering names. But if you play a song, I bet you I know the words and I can sing along.
Well, let me ask you this: like, since you have damn near 50 years worth of music just like stockpiled in your brain, like, what's your favorite decade of music?
You know, there's two different important things that I take from. So, for example, sorry, I'm getting tongue-tied. But visually, I love the eras of like 1960s and 70s. I just love how that looks visually, and the cars that they had, and like, records and, you know, things like that. But musically, I love the 90s, early 2000s. And then sometimes I'll even bounce, you know, I'll take from the 1960s or 70s. But they both have different important meanings to me. So it's like 90s, 2000s has that groove and that feel that I love. And then the 60s and the 70s have the visual aspect and the colors, the color palettes they used back in the day, the way they dressed. I love
color palettes. Weren't they just black and white back then?
Well, I meant like it's just the way they dressed. It was so neutral. I love neutral colors.
Yeah,
and browns. It was like browns. Yeah, nudes and just, yeah.
I feel you. And I think all that to say, like, I think even listening to "Keeping Me Up," which just released not too long ago, right?
Yeah, 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks.
Yeah, like 2 weeks ago. So I'm listening to it, and I'm just like, this shit took me back to like the 90s, like super quick. Even the way like that intro starts of somebody just introducing who you are, I'm like, yo, I don't hear that in music anymore.
You know, that's a funny story behind that. So Yanni, the producer, he was in there in the booth fixing the mic because I couldn't hear myself, and he was just in the booth, and he was testing out the mic, and he was like, yeah, and then he just started talking. He was like, I need everybody on the dance floor. He was like, new head of Monds, And then I was like, you know what? That's hard. Let's
Yeah,
just
that
keep
was
that.
super hard.
Right? And because it gave the same feeling you got, it gave me that feeling. And I was just like, I haven't, like, felt that in a long time. I was like, let's just keep that. And it stayed.
And it's cool because it just sounds like it happened so naturally. It wasn't forced like, hey, we're going to make this into like a 2000s, like a 1990s, like R&B record.
Right.
Like it kind of just like, it just felt that way from the jump. And then it just set the tone for the rest of the song.
Right. I love that. I love to hear that. So I skate. I like to roller skate.
Okay.
And when we go skating, I usually in LA we go to World on Wheels. They have like R&B nights.
Oh my God, yeah, I've been there once, and I just could not, for the love of God, figure out how to skate.
Yeah,
it was bad.
Yeah, well, I'll teach you. You have to come out with me.
Of course.
But they play some of the dopest old school R&B vibes. And this summer I've been skating a lot. So when I was in the studio, it happened organically. Keeping Me Up was like I was on that vibe.
Yeah.
And I was like, let's just make a skating record. So we just I got in the booth. He actually, you know what? He sent me the beat over the phone. He said, I want to see what you could do with this. I just did like a melody on my phone, and then I was like, I'm gonna come into the studio tomorrow and record it, and we did. And then I was like, yo, this is so skating vibes.
It so is now that you bring that up.
Yeah, it is.
Damn, that's such a dope way of constructing a record. It's very unorthodox, and it kind of just like it makes me appreciate the record a lot more.
Thank you.
Just because of the way it was put together. So, I mean,
I
gotta
love
shake your hand
that.
for that.
No, thank you. Because that's one thing as an artist I think that we all want is to people to receive our music, to not really understand it because everybody perceives it differently, but just to hear that people are rocking with the record. And the response was crazy. And to hear you now talk about it makes me so happy. So thank you.
No, thank you for blessing the world with a dope record called Keeping Me Up.
Thank you.
Do you get like do you kind of like purge out everything that you got going in life like while you're skating?
As like just let it loose?
Yeah, you just like let everything loose and you could kind of just really be yourself?
Yeah, so it's an exercise. It is an exercise. It's definitely an exercise.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, so I'll pull up, I'll have my friends come with me. Not all of them know how to skate, but, we'll get on the floor and just skate and let loose. It's like a form of dance, to be honest.
Well, I remember going to Venice Beach for the first time a couple years ago, and there was a group of maybe like 5 or 6 skaters just like in a line, like dancing to it. I'm just like, this is the most mesmerizing thing I've seen in life so far, just because like everyone's so in sync.
And it's so smooth.
Yes.
It's so smooth. It's like you can't really not be smooth, because the wheels take over.
Yeah.
But I actually had a lot of skaters reach out to me because of that record, and I saw this one skater because I actually on my Instagram I posted me in the skating rink.
Okay.
And I was like tag some dope skaters, and then they reached out and they were like, love your new record. So I should be getting some videos soon of some skaters dancing and keeping me up. So.
Hey man, that sounds like a dope challenge. You know what I mean? Like everybody got these challenges going on.
Are you gonna participate?
I mean, as long as you teach me how to skate.
Yeah,
like, I'm not trying to fall on my ass on video.
Yeah.
I mean, actually, if I do, it might just raise up some clout for me. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like people like the buffoonery.
Well, when I go, I'll invite you.
For sure.
And I'm gonna teach you how to skate because he doesn't not really know how to skate either.
What? Come on, man.
He tries. He gets on the floor and he'll like. But no, I mean you're not bad.
As long as you try, though.
Yeah.
The straight balls.
Yeah. See, I was getting to a point because everyone was eclipsing me, and I'm just like, I just gotta stay on that little island.
Yeah. The one in the middle.
Yeah, the one in the middle or like the one on the side. Because I'm like, yo, like.
Well, you have to go on a night when there's not a lot of people and practice and get that exercise in, strengthen up those quads, and the hamstrings, and calves.
Now, can you ice skate?
No.
Those are two totally...
No, and I'm actually afraid to because when I was younger, I fell and, ice skates have blades at the bottom. So the fear of like...
Oh, you didn't cut yourself. You didn't cut yourself.
No, I did on my hand. But ever since that day, I thought if I were to fall on my face and scrape my face, like, because there's a lot of people fall during ice skating.
Yeah.
I see more people fall in ice skates than roller skating. So I'm like, let me just stay away from that.
Well, you got 4 wheels on both feet as opposed to just one blade.
Exactly.
The likelihood of you falling is a lot less.
Right.
So, Hannah, you're in a very musically inclined family, I guess you could say, because everybody in your family just loves music. When do you decide to move from Nashville to Los Angeles?
Yeah. So before I was telling you how I was in college, I was a RIM major, which is recording industry major, when I first went to school. So music is something I wanted to do straight out of high school. I didn't expect to go to college, but I knew that I felt at the time that it was the right thing to do, and I wanted to do it for my family and, you know, make them proud, whatnot. But then when I got to school, I hated the program. I love my school. Shout out to MTSU. But I just didn't enjoy the program because it was more like history based, and I wanted to be hands-on in the studio, and you didn't get access to that right away. So I would sneak off and go to Atlanta. I have friends in Atlanta, and I would be recording at their recording studios, and then I wouldn't be doing my homework and whatnot, and I just was like, okay, this is probably not
for you.
Yeah, it's not for me. So what I did was I switched my major to psychology. Don't ask why. I don't know how that happened. I did. I pulled through. I got my degree, and I graduated in 2016, late 2016 or 2017. Oh, my God, that's terrible. I don't know.
You don't know?
Late 2016. Oh, my God. Yeah, 2016. See, time flies. So then right after that, I was like, you know, I had an itch. Like, I really had an itch to do music. And I didn't want to go to Atlanta. And I didn't want to stay home because I just felt like it was too comfortable.
Yeah.
And I wanted to be in a place where I knew I could meet new people and challenge myself. So I was like, I'm going to go check out LA. I came out here and visited for a little while. And I met some really dope creators, like influencers in music and whatnot. And I was just like, yeah, it just clicked. Everything clicked. And then when I went back home, I told my mom, I was like,
I ain't coming back.
I'm out, you know, because right after school, because I had my own place and whatnot, but I wanted to save up money to come out here because, you know, straight out of college, you ain't got no money.
Yeah.
No. So I wanted to save up money, and then I moved out here. And honestly, just God blessed me with the people that he's put around me. When I got here, I immediately was put into a circle of some really dope, talented people, producers, writers, artists. And it was somewhat intimidating only because I felt like, wow, they're really doing it. And they were advanced and
well,
up
you
there.
know, is it kind of like, I guess, is it kind of slow in Nashville?
Yeah, it's slower.
See, so then you jump from a place that is hella slow to Los Angeles. Like, you literally just go from like 0 to 100.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And everybody's on like such a fast pace over here.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for me, being from San Francisco, I already felt like I was running at like 100%. And then moving out here, I'm just like, oh, I was actually just running at like 50%. You know what I mean? And it's like,
exactly.
you know, like you come from like these areas where you feel like you have everything already, but then it's the desire to always want more and always, I guess, want to do better for yourself is what drives people to go to LA or New York. Or like at the end of the day, if you don't go to those two places, it's what actually wants you or helps you pursue your dreams.
Mm-hmm. Because you want to be in a place where you feel like you are surrounded by people and things that can help you get there.
People who are like you.
Exactly. So that was definitely my mindset. And then, like I said, coming here and being put in a position with people that are doing that, it was exciting, intimidating, scary, amazing, and I was grateful all at the same time. You know, it's a world full of emotions, and I think you can relate to that. You know, it's like you have to deal with your life, you have to tackle life, and then you're also coming out here to tackle your dreams, you know.
So I did have to type your name up on Google and just see what like a Wikipedia page or whatever would show up, right?
I don't think I have a Wikipedia.
You don't have a
yet.
Wikipedia page, but then I saw you on like IMBD, like you were working with like this YouTuber at one point.
Yeah. So I have done a couple. I did a short series called Bad Escorts.
Yeah.
With Daystorm Power.
Yeah.
Those are some of the influencers I met and befriended me when I first moved here, and I was able to get into that world too.
How did that relationship start with Daystorm?
Actually, my friend Zach Dials, he's a real estate agent out here.
Okay.
He is friends with Daystorm, and when I was back home, before I moved here, I was making plays. I was calling, and I was like, because I didn't know anybody when I moved here. I was like, I want to move to LA, but I need you to, help me shake some hands. Like, just put me in the right position. You don't got to do anything for me. And he was like, well, I know a guy. And, he asked me, what do you want to do? And then he was like, well, I know a guy who does film and whatnot, and I can introduce you to. So I came out here, and he introduced me to him, and the rest is history. And Daystorm is a really good guy. Like, he was like, we'll help you social media wise, and as far as like come film with us, because they were doing like skits at the time when I first moved here, and he was like, come film with us. And later they opened up a network, and I got my first show on there. And
what was the show called?
Pillow Talk.
Tight.
A talk show with my friend Amber Borzotra.
What would you guys talk about on Pillow Talk?
Yeah, so we would have guests come in, and artists and different type of creators, and we would just humanize them. So we would sit in a big bed in pajamas, whether we were drinking or had popcorn or eating. We would literally just play games and ask them real questions and let their fans get to know them as well as our fans get to know us. So
yeah,
it's really dope.
I love the fact that you use the word humanize, because I think what tends to happen is that we're looking at someone or something from one side of the screen and thinking that they're the most godly, untouchable person in the world. But I think it's through these conversations in pajamas, you know what I mean? Like in people like having conversations in their most simplest form, which can really just make people believe like, wow, like the people who I'm seeing on the other side of the screen is just like me in some way.
Exactly. And with what I'm doing with music, and I don't want to just do music. I'm an actress as well. I want to act and I want to be in movies. I want people to see that I'm not a character. Like I really am I'm human who goes through things, and I have my own things that I worry about, that I'm stressed about, and I have insecurities and things like that. So having a platform to do that is very important. Like I'm working right now actually on reaching out more to the community and people that follow me, and let them into my life without it's that I want to give that healthy balance of not giving too much of me, because it is a very scary place. The internet is a very scary place, but I know that's what I signed up for. It's something that I'm willing to put myself out there to let people know that this is what I go through, and this is my journey, and I want to let you in on it and see that it's, you can relate to that.
Well, seeing as how like we're on this conversation right now, like what are like some of the difficulties that you face being somebody from Nashville trying to make it big in the entertainment industry in LA?
Well, I mean, of course, we've all had our obstacles. I feel like majority of my obstacles were more like myself, more personal. Like, for example, I suffered from acne for a while. I still do. And it really messed with my self-esteem and wanting and feeling motivated to be in front of a camera. So I just didn't feel like being in front of a camera. I didn't like it. I would be so self-conscious. I would be like, is my skin fine or whatever? But later, come to find out, actually, I went to the doctor, and I have a disorder called PCOS, and it's polycystic ovary syndrome.
Okay. Which
So-
means...
I don't. This is a lot. But
She's like, I didn't expect to go into this.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. But yeah, to keep it short and simple. You get like cysts on your ovaries, and that's what women need to like make babies and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyways, one of the side effects is like acne and like whatever else. If I know a lot of women have it, but yeah, finding out what the reason was actually helped alleviate the stress of being like, all right, like I can control this. I am gonna control this, and I'm still gonna be confident and sexy because I'm doing things. I'm in front of a camera, especially with my music. Like I'm all about confidence. My inspirations are like Janet, Beyonce, freaking Vanity, Aaliyah, and those are very...
Damn, she said Vanity.
Vanity, like...
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Very beautiful women that were not afraid to show their sex appeal, and that's something that, I naturally do. So I was afraid to be in front of the camera with those insecure...
first and foremost, like, thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah.
Like, I appreciate you for sharing that so much. But I think the fact that... once you realize like what these problems are, and you realize that you can't control them, I guess it gives you a sense of like, well, what can I control? You know what I mean? I can still control the fact that I can be in front of a camera. I can still be the happiest motherfucker alive, and I could still bring out the best of my personality to people.
Facts.
And I'm not going to let something that I can't control hold me back.
Exactly. And that's exactly what came to mind. It's like I woke up overnight after just praying and meditation. I was just like, you know what? Like, you can't hold yourself back. I was holding myself back, and that's something that, I definitely am going to talk about more and hopefully help others that are holding their self back and keeping them from pursuing certain things because of, personal issues. So, yeah.
Well, we have a strong woman in the fucking building, everybody. Hannah Monds. So, Hannah, 3-piece and sweet tea.
3-piece and a sweet tea. So, that's my EP.
EP.
Yeah, that's my EP. It's coming out right now. The date is August 23rd. I may push it a week. We'll see.
Coming out in August, for sure.
Yeah, coming out in August. But yeah, so I wanted to do things a little unorthodox, like do it different. I don't know if anybody else has done something like this, but I'm releasing an EP, but I'm dropping each track 2 weeks.
Like the singles.
Yeah, I'm dropping each track by itself because I feel like we're in a time right now where not a lot of people digest body of works anymore.
Facts.
You know what I mean? So I was skeptical if I wanted to do a full EP or an album just yet because I felt like I hadn't put enough of my music out there. Like right now I have a really big catalog. So I'm releasing music, just warming people up, and I want people to really see what my music is about, what I'm about. And so anyway, I dropped Keeping Me Up, and then 2 weeks later I dropped Today, which is The Jungle. And then next week 2 weeks from now, I'll be dropping another song. And then the fourth one will be released on the EP, and they will all come out together. And then that's
okay.
the sweet
I
tea.
see you.
Yeah.
I like you. You're thinking just a little bit differently than everybody. Hannah Monds, everybody. 3-piece and sweet tea will be out sometime in August.
Yeah.
Maybe August 23rd or August 30th. Hannah, where can everybody find you?
Man, well, my Instagram is Hannah Monds Official, and my other Instagram platform is just Hannah Monds.
Why do you have two?
What?
Wait, you have two Instagrams?
No.
One's the
Twitter.
burner account?
My other
your
platforms,
Twitter.
like Twitter, Facebook, the Hannah Monds. It's just search Hannah Monds, and I'm pretty sure my stuff will pop
100%.
up.
It's an easy Google search.
Yeah.
Well, I'm Nico Blitz. This is The Lunch Table, Hannah Monds, and we are out, everybody.
Bye. Thank you.